Hare Krishna. Om Adhyanatimmirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Shahagana Ragunatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Shavadutam Parijana Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Sri Visakanutamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Shindu Lila Bhandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Avarebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Hare Girim Yat Kripa Tamhang Vande Sri Gurun Dinataram Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitaneshwar. Hare Krishna. So welcome to our English Bhakti Sastri class. So we are still in the chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita. So in the previous discussion of the chapter 9, we were discussing in the beginning, in the first part of our discussion, we were discussing about the qualification and disqualification in hearing. Yeah, as we remember that chapter 9 and chapter 7, both have a lot of similarities. Yeah, in the chapter 7, Krishna says, Tachino, by hearing from me, hearing from Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada emphasizing on the importance of hearing in his purport. So similarly, also the first part of chapter 9, talking about hearing. And Krishna explains to Arjuna what is the qualification and what is the disqualification. So the qualification Krishna mentioned is that anasuya, being non-envious. Yeah, always faithful, non-envious. And the disqualification is that asra dadana purusha. Yeah? That means has no faith. If one has no faith, then what is the point of hearing? And then the second part of our discussion, we were talking about Krishna's unique relationship with the material universe. Yeah. Although Krishna is aloof and remain in his spiritual abode, yet at the same time he maintained the material universe through his different energies. Although he seems to be involved, but actually he's not involved at all. So this is Krishna's unique position and relationship with the material nature. So we are continuing our discussion. Chapter 9, text number 11 to 19. So this part is discussing about the non-worshippers and worshippers. Krishna compares the pure devotees to the impersonalists, demigod worshippers, and those who worship the universal form. He also describes how to meditate upon him as the Vishwa Rupa. Yeah. In the chapter 7, we touch also this point, that why people are worshipping the demigods and what are the result of worshipping the demigods. Yeah. Antavatu palamte samtadbhavati alpameda. So demigod worship, by worshipping the demigod, one can get the desire that they want, because the demigod easily pleased by someone's worship. But then the result is that Tadbhavati alpamedas, and it's very limited and also very little. It has no eternal effect. So in that sense, it is limited. Yeah. So we start from text number 11. Awa jananti mamudha manushim tanumasritam param bhava janato mama bhuta maheshwaram. So this part is not talking only about demigod verses, but it's talking about the impersonalities also. Yeah, worshippers and non-worshippers. So Krishna says, fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. So Manusim Tanumasritam means in the human form, in the human-like form. Now what does it mean? Human-like form means Krishna is not human. In fact, when Krishna mentioned Manusim Tanumasritam, just like human being, actually Krishna is not assuming a form of human being. But actually, as it is mentioned also somewhere in the Bible, that the image of human is actually created from the image of God, taken from the image of God. So the original form of Krishna, of God, the Supreme Lord, is two-handed form, just how he looks like. Yeah, and our form as human is actually duplicated from his original form. But when Krishna descends to this material world, so fools, awa jananti mamudha. Those who do not know will deride Krishna as ordinary human being. Srila Prabhupada says, from the other explanation of the previous verses in this chapter, it is clear that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing like a human being, is not a common man. The personality of Godhead who conducts the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the complete cosmic manifestation cannot be a human being. Yet there are many foolish men who consider Krishna to be merely a powerful man and nothing more. See? The foolish consider Krishna as ordinary human being because they do not know the confidential activities of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. Param bhavam ajanantu. This param bhavam ajanantu means the higher nature of the Lord. Mama Buddha Maha Ishwaram. And he's not only Ishwara, but he's the Maheshwara. Means he's the supreme controller. Yeah. Ishwara means controller. We sometimes have this tendency to be controller, but Krishna is Maheshwaram. He is the supreme controller. They do not know that Krishna's body is a symbol of complete knowledge and bliss. That he is the proprietor of everything and that he can award liberation to anyone, because they do not know that Krishna has so many transcendental qualifications. They deride him. The way how Krishna appears is actually extraordinary. Nobody we find that appear like how Krishna appeared in the jail of Kamsa. Yeah, with four-headed form, with the helmet, with the ornaments, Shankha, Chakra, Gada Padma, and yellow dhoti. Yeah, nobody in this world. Yeah. So the way how Krishna appears is actually indicating that he's not at all ordinary. First of all, not at all ordinary. If people say that, okay, he's just a powerful human being, then that's actually not at all true. Even a great yogi cannot manifest a universal form. A great yogi, those who attain the perfection in the mystic power, in the mystic yoga, they can get the 8 mystic perfection and can expand themselves into nine forms, into nine forms. That's it. But Krishna can perform unlimited extraordinary human activities, superhuman activities. Nobody could lift a mountain other than Krishna. And when Krishna married 16,108 wives, so Krishna provides all of them, each of them, palaces, including the servants, and all their necessities. So Krishna can expand himself into as many he desires. But those who are in ignorance, so they derive Krishna to be an ordinary human being. The next verse, text number 12. Moga samogaka mano moga gyana vicheta saha raksasim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim srita. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. There are many devotees who assume themselves to be in Krishna consciousness and devotional service, but at heart do not accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, as the absolute truth. For them, the fruit of devotional service, going back to Godhead, will never be tasted. There are so many people, especially here in India, they say that, oh yeah, I am Krishna's devotee. I go to Krishna temple maybe once in a while, only on Janmashtami, probably. But actually, they don't really understand Krishna's position, because many people misunderstood Krishna to be one of the demigods. This is a mistake, actually. And this is one of the 10 offenses against the holy name. Consider that demigods, even such such powerful demigods like Brahma and Indra, to be equal to Lord Vishnu. So, and consider that all the demigods are independent from Krishna. So that's actually the second offense. So many people think that Krishna is just one of the demigods. That means they don't really understand the Krishna Tattva. So for them, even they're claiming to be devotees of the Lord, but they don't really worship Krishna, and they don't really accept Krishna as the supreme personality of God. So I highlighted here the statement of Srila Prabhupada mentioning the fruit of devotional service, going back home, going back to Godhead. So going back to Godhead, that's actually one of the fruits of devotional service. But the main fruit is that just to develop love for Krishna. Of course, when we go back home, back to Godhead, we remain serving Krishna. Service will be eternal. Service will be eternal. So there are 5 types of liberation: Salokya, Sarthi, Samipya, Sarupya, Ekatvam, Apiyuta. Dhyamanam nagrinati vinamat sevanam jana. Of course, this is the symptoms of a pure devotee, that they don't care of anything else. Dhyamanam nagrinati. They don't even want these 5 types of liberation. Vinamat sevanam jana. Vinamat sevanam jana. They just want service to Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada explains, out of these 5 types of liberation, 4 will be always accepted by devotees. Even if the pure devotees doesn't want liberation, but when Krishna offers liberation, pure devotee will not reject it. Will not reject it. The 4 types of liberation. There's only one type of liberation which is always rejected by devotees, and that is the merging into Brahman, yeah, Ekatvam or Sayujya Mukti. Sayujya Mukti always rejected by devotees. Because other four types of liberation, like staying in the same place with Krishna, having bodily form as Krishna, having same opulence, or becoming Krishna's friend, in these four types of liberation, we can perform our service, we can continue our service. But when we desire for Sayujya Mukti, merging into Brahman, that means we try to be inactive. So there is no service. Therefore, the devotees always reject Sayujya Mukti. Those who engage in pretty pious activities and who are ultimately hoping to be liberated from this material entanglement will never be successful either, because they deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. In other words, persons who mock Krishna are to be understood to be demoniac or atheist. Yeah. So as long as we have the attachment to fruitive activities or hoping to be liberated, so this kind of liberation hinted here by Srila Prabhupada is the impersonal liberation. Yeah. And especially those who mock Krishna, who make fun of Krishna, so they are absolutely demoniac and atheistic. They don't believe in Krishna's position. Yeah. So moga jnana vichetasaha, their knowledge is actually bewildered. They bewildered. Karma, their attempt for fruitive activities also will not be fruitful. And text number 13. Mahatmana Stubam Partha Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha Bhajantyana Sugyatva Bhutadimaya. So text 11 and 12 describing about the non-worshippers. And starting from here, text 13, Krishna explains about the worshipper. Yeah, the Mahatma means great soul. Osana Prita, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada explained, the first sign of the Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of material energy, material nature. And how is this affected? This is explained in the 7th chapter. Where is that mentioned in the 7th chapter? That those who are surrendered to Krishna is no longer controlled by material nature. In the 7th chapter, anybody still remember? Chatur Atma Prabhu, still remember in the 7th chapter where Krishna mentioned that those who are surrendered to Krishna, they're no longer affected by the material nature. Or Yugala Kishora Prabhu. Okay, I got no response here. Yeah, Krishna mentioned Daivi Hesa Guna Mahi Mama Maya Duratya in that verse. The guidance of the spiritual nature is called Daivi Prakriti, divine nature. So when one is promoted in that way by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one attains to the stage of great soul Mahatma. The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. There's no doubt about it. Such a Mahatma or great soul develops through association with other Mahatmas, pure devotees. This is important statement here. That how can a person become a Mahatma? Is by associating ourselves with a Mahatma. Yeah. So just like the saying goes, that you tell me who your friend, then I will tell you who are you. So if we associate with drunkard, so automatically we also become drunkard, right? But if we associate ourselves with the pure devotee, so also we get the inclination and develop qualities of pure devotees. Prabhupada used to give the example, just like if we touch an iron to a fire, so that iron will imbibe the same qualities as fire, which is burning. It becomes hot and burning. So similarly, we also like that. Yeah, sadhu sangha, by associating ourselves with sadhu. Yeah, sarva saste koi lava matra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. All perfection will be attained simply by sadhu sangha. Text number 14. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantaschadridavarthana mashyantachumam bhaktya nitya yukta upasa. Always chanting my glories and endeavoring with great determination, going down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So these are the four characteristics of a Mahatma. Yeah, first of all, Satatam Kirtayantam, always chanting Krishna's glories. Yatantacha Dridavarta, endeavoring with great determination, performing devotional service with Utsaha, yeah, and then offering obeisances and becoming Krishna's devotees. The Mahatma cannot be manufactured by rubber stamping or by rubber stamping an ordinary man. His symptoms are described here. A Mahatma is always engaged in chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. So Mahatma will always, Kirtaniya Sada Harihi, like Srila Haridas Thakur, always chanting. In devotional service, there are certain activities which are called determined, such as fasting on certain days like Ekadasi. Yeah. So we are following the four regulative principles also. This is one part of our practice, and that's in the category of Drida Vrata, with great determination. Unless we are having strong determination, so there is no chance for us to advance in Krishna consciousness, to advance the rules and regulation, basic rules and regulation. For example, like to get up early in the morning, yeah, for Mangala Arati. If we don't have strong determination, especially now here in Mayapur, like we have winter. If we have very weak determination, oh, we just sleep till till 6-7 o'clock probably. Yeah. But if we have determination despite of anything, yeah, whether it is cold or is there hot water, no hot water, still we take bath and go to temple. This is called determination. Fasting on Ekadasi also, fasting on the appearance and disappearance day of acharyas and some festival, observing festival. This is determination. Or taking some service on the regular basis. This is also determination. One does not need to undergo any severe penance and austerity. He can live this life in devotional service guided by an expert spiritual master and in any position, either as a householder or a sannyasi or a brahmachari. In any position and anywhere in the world, he can perform this devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus become actually Mahatma, a great soul. Yeah, sometimes we think that, oh, those who are in household life, there's no chance for them to become Mahatma. Because entanglement, attachment to the family, responsibilities, family members. Well, in one sense, it is actually not true, because anybody can become a Mahatma as long as he can engage himself in devotional service, connected to Krishna 24 hours. Yeah. Although he's a householder, he can become a Mahatma. There are 12 Mahajanas and most of them are Mahatma. Most of them are a householder. Most of them are householder. Grihesva visatam chapi pumsa kusala karmana madvartaya tayamanam nabhandaya griham. So nabhandaya grihamatha. although one is situated in the householder life. So if he is engaged in Krishna service, then na bandhaya, he's not bound by the material entanglement. Text number 15. Others who engage in sacrifice by cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without the second, as diverse in many and in the universal form. This verse is a summary of the previous verses. The Lord tells Arjuna that those who are purely in Krishna consciousness and do not know anything other than Krishna are called Mahatma. Yet there are other persons who are not exactly in a position of Mahatma, but who worship Krishna also in different ways. Some of them have already been described as the distressed, the financially destitute, the inquisitive, and those who are engaged in the cultivation of knowledge. But there are others who are still lower, and these are divided into three. So this is explained in the 7th chapter also about Artho Jigyasu Artharthi. Yeah. There are 4 types of pious people. Pious people means despite of having some material desire within their heart, still they approach Krishna. So in that way they consider to be pious. But others who are still lower, and these are divided into 3. The first one is that who worship himself as one with the Supreme Lord. So this is the Mayavadis. Number 2, he who concocts some form of the Supreme Lord and worship that. And number 3, who accept the universal form, the Vishwarupa, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and worship that. So the point here is that these 3 types of people are considered to be lower, but still they have worshipping attitude. Yeah. Although this kind of worship is not at all perfect. Text number 16. But it is I who am the ritual, the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herbs, the transcendental chant. I'm the butter and the fire and the offering. Purport. Those who engage in rendering devotional service unto Krishna are to be understood to have performed all the sacrifices recommended in the Vedas. Those who are render service, especially in Kali Yuga, we are performing the Yuga Dharma. Aho bata shwa pachato gari yan yaji vagre vartate namatu vyam tripushtapaste juhu shastra arya brahmanuchur nama grinanti. So all types of austerities, study of the Vedas, visiting holy places, all of those activities actually covered simply by chanting the holy name of Lord. Aho bataswa pashuto yajiva agre vartate nama. Just using one's tongue, slightly, the tip of one's tongue. Jiva agre means the tip, just the tip of one's tongue. So devotional service is so sublime. It surpasses everything. Text number 17 to 19. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandson. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rig, the Sama, and the Yajurvedas. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and eternal seed. O Arjuna, I give heed and I withhold and send forth the rain. I'm immortality and I'm also death personified. Both spirit and matter are in me. Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada says in a lecture, so we have to learn from Bhagavad Gita directly, spoken by the Supreme Lord, and accept it. And do accordingly. This is called Krishna consciousness. We think of Krishna is everything, or God is everything. So let us become submissive and prosecute this, the process of devotional service. That's the way of happiness. That's the way of perfection. Okay. So that's end of the first part of our discussion about worshippers and the non-worshippers. Yeah, the Mahatmas versus Duratma. So Krishna explains The Duratma, those who are non-believer, awajananti mamuda manusim tanumasri. They deride Krishna when Krishna descends, assuming human form. So when Krishna assumes a human form, it doesn't mean he's human like us. Yeah. When Krishna assumes a form of a boar, it is not that Krishna is a boar. He's just playing a role as a boar. Just like Krishna appeared as Kurma, Matsya, Hayagriva, and so on. Doesn't mean that Krishna is those animals. He's just playing a role. He's just playing a role. So the fools will deride Krishna because they don't know Krishna Tattva. So they are in the category of Duratma. And the Mahatma, as it is mentioned, Satatam Kirtayam Dhamam, they always absorb in devotional service. Yeah. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha, those Mahatmas are very rare. They always chant Krishna's name. Yatanta Chadridavrata, perform devotional service with determination. Namashantas, offering obeisances to Krishna, Chamam Bhakta, and become Krishna's devotee. So we will continue to the next part of our discussion, and that is comparing demigod worshippers and devotees. So the first part of our today's discussion is actually a general description about the worshippers and the non-worshippers. And here now Krishna will compare the demigod worshippers and the devotees. This is also already being touched by Krishna in the 7th chapter. We just go through this very briefly. Demigod worship which neglects Krishna as the supreme enjoyer is improper and causes fall down. Devotees of Krishna, however, are personally protected by Krishna, who helps them achieve his association. Krishna accepts his devotees' offering, which are given in devotion. In verse 26, Krishna describes pure devotional service. In text number 26, we'll see the word bhakti will be mentioned twice by Krishna. Yeah. So first, let's see about the demigod worship. What Krishna says about demigod worship. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking heavenly planets, worship me indirectly, purified of sinful reaction. They take birth on the pious heavenly planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delight. Prabhupada's explanation. Unfortunately, there are many great scholars of the Vedas who do not know the ultimate purport of studying them. Devotional service begins with the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra and side by side trying to understand Krishna in truth. Unfortunately, those who are simply official students of the Vedas become more interested in offering sacrifices to the different demigods like Indra and Chandra. By such endeavor, the worshippers of different demigods are certainly purified of the contamination of the lower qualities of nature and are thereby elevated to the higher planetary systems. So here, the demigod worshippers, as Krishna mentioned here, actually, because they have limited knowledge, so they consider that demigods, different demigods, they are on the same position with the Supreme Lord, and even they put the demigods on the position of the Lord. So of course, demigods are considered to be the parts of Krishna's body. Therefore, Krishna mentioned in this verse that indirectly worshipping Krishna. Yeah, because they don't know. They want to worship God, but the demigod worshippers consider to be indirectly worshipping Krishna. Because they are thinking the demigods are God. So they indirectly worshipping Krishna. And as Srila Prabhupada mentioned here in his purport, that many students of the Vedas don't understand the purport of the Vedas, especially the conclusions. Yeah, Vedaisa sarvair aham eva vidyo. And the conclusion of the Vedas is to understand Krishna. That's it. The devotional service begin with the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Yeah. Tavan evalo kesmin pumsam dharma parasmrita bhakti yogo bhagavati tanama grahana adivi. So tanama grahana adivi. Accepting the holy name means we chant the holy name. That's the beginning of devotional service. Prabhupada also mentioned about the official students of the Vedas. That means they are very much attracted toward the tantra, sacrifice to different demigods, karma kanda. And here is the result of demigod worship mentioned by Krishna. Itam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam shine punye martyalokam vishanti evam traye dharma manu prapanna gata gata kama kamala bhante. When they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly sense pleasure and the results of their pious activities are exhausting, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek sense enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas achieve unlimited birth and death. Yeah. Hine punye martyalokam vishanti. So the martyalokam means this earth considered to be martyalokam because this place is the place of death. So the place of where we are accumulating our bad or good karma. Yeah, here it is in the planet Earth. So just like we work and then we go for a holiday, vacation to some countries, we have some certain period of visas, for example. And then when the visa is finished and then our money is finished, we have to go back again to our country, get a job, and apply for a new visa. So similarly, those who attain heavenly planet, they enjoy, and then after that, Shine Punye Martyalokam Shanti. After their pious credits are finished, so they are forced to go back to earth again to work. One who is promoted to the higher planetary systems enjoys a longer duration of life and better facilities for sense enjoyment. Yet one is not allowed to stay there forever. One is again sent back to this earth upon finishing the resultant fruits of pious activities. Text number 22. This is about how Krishna reciprocates those who are pure devotees. Ananya, Ananya means like unalloyed. Ananya chimtayanto mam ye jana payupasate tesam nityabhyuktanam yogaksemam vahamyaham. But those who always worship me. So in the beginning, Krishna explains about demigod worship, and then how they worship is actually misdirected, misplaced, and then the result is they have to come back again. It's not eternal. Antavatu palam tesam, chapter 7. And then here, now Krishna starting to explain to Arjuna about pure devotees. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, yeah, ananyas, chinta means actually meditating, meditating on my transcendental form. Chintayanto mam. To them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So yoga ksevam wahami aham. Krishna says here that he personally carrying what his pure devotees need. He's personally carrying. By the mercy of the Lord, such a devotee never comes back to this material condition of life. Ksema refers to the merciful protection of the Lord. The Lord helps the devotee to achieve Krishna consciousness by yoga, and when he becomes fully Krishna conscious, the Lord protects him from falling down to a miserable condition of life. Yeah. So there was a famous story. Probably most of you here have heard the story about Arjunacharya, in which I will not narrate in detail. So Arjunacharya was a Brahmana, uh, and he lives very simple. So one day he read the Bhagavad Gita. He was reciting Bhagavad Gita when he reached this verse, specifically this verse, Yogaksema Mahamyaham, because here Krishna mentioned Aham means I personally. So he has no faith on this word, and then he just uh, mark this sloka. He marked with his pen. So he said that no. And then he actually changed the word from Waham Yaham, so Karomi Yaham, from Waham Yaham into Karomi Yaham. Karomi Yaham means somehow or other I will manage to bring something to my devotees, whatever he needs. So somehow or other I will do something, I will make some arrangement to fulfill that need. But Krishna personally mentioned here that Wahami Aham, I personally care. And then he went to beg some alms, and that day he didn't get anything. But actually Krishna and Balaram came to his house and met his wife. Yeah, and they brought a lot of foodstuffs. And when Arjunacharya's wife was asking, like, who are you? And they said, I'm your husband's student. So we have to go now, otherwise he will beat us again. And then his wife thought that, no, how come my husband is so cruel? I don't think so, he's cruel. And then these two boys showed the wife of Arjunacharya the mark, the bruise on their back. Yeah. And then they left. And when Arjunacharya came home, so his wife was chastising him, of course. And then Arjunacharya was bewildered, and then he was asking what was going on. And then his wife narrates everything. And then when Arjunacharya saw this verse that was marked by Arjunacharya, so his wife exactly remembered the same mark was on the back of those two boys. And those two boys, none other than Krishna and Balaram. So when we need something, Krishna will give us. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about Krishna's protection. Yoga Ksemam Vaham Yaham. Krishna will protect whatever we have, and then Krishna will carry whatever we need. Yeah. And the condition here should be Ananya. Ananya means unalloyed, fully surrendered to Krishna. If we have faith, that will happen to us. Ananya Chintayantaha means always 24 hours without any deviation, always think of Krishna. Naturally, if you are engaged in the business of Krishna, then you will always think of Krishna. Anyone who is absorbed in certain particular business is always thinking of that thing. So anyone who is engaged in Krishna consciousness, his business is to think about Krishna. Think about Krishna always. So Ananya Chintaya. Chinta means mind. Somehow or other we have to connect our mind to Krishna. Yeah. Maya Asakta Mana Parta, as Krishna mentioned in the beginning of chapter 7. Always connect ourselves to Krishna. Text number 23. Ye pyanta devata bhaktya yajante shradayan vidha tepimam eva kontya yajantya vidi purvakam. Here Krishna mentioned that they do it in the wrong way. Yajantya vidi avidi purvakam. Vidhi means knowledge. Avidi means no knowledge. Yeah. Those who are devotees of other gods, means the demigods, and who worship them with faith, actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. For example, when a man pours water on the leaves and branches of a tree, without pouring water on the root, he does so without sufficient knowledge, or without observing regulative principles. Yeah, so this process is incorrect. The demigods are, so to speak, different officers of directors in the government of the Supreme Lord. One has to follow the laws made by government, not by the officers or directors. Similarly, everyone is to offer his worship to the Supreme Lord only. That will automatically satisfy the different officers and directors of the Lord. The officers and directors are engaged as representatives of the government, and to offer some bribe to the officers and directors is illegal. Yeah. So what we can learn here, by satisfying Krishna, actually all demigods will be automatically satisfied. Yeah. Yatha taror mula nisechanena tripyanti tat skanda bhujopasakaha pranopaharaccha yatindriyanam tataiva sharvar hanumanchate. Just like we water the root of a tree, will energize all the branches, twigs, leaves, flowers, fruits, everything. And just like we feed the stomach, prano paharacha yata indriyan. When we feed the stomach, all other indriyas, the senses, become energized. So similarly, Achyuta Ijya, when we worship Lord Achyuta, so all the demigods will be satisfied automatically. So those who are demigod worshippers, actually, as Krishna mentioned, their intention is just to worship God, but because they don't know who is God, who is the supreme God, therefore it is considered here Yajantya Avidi Purvakam. They do so, but not in a full knowledge. Yeah. In the wrong way. Text number 24. I am the only enjoyer and master of all sacrifices. Therefore, those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. The perfectional form of human civilization known as Varnashram Dharma is specifically meant for satisfying Vishnu. Therefore, Krishna says in this verse, I am the enjoyer of all sacrifices because I am the supreme master. Less intelligent persons, however, without knowing this fact, worship demigods for temporary benefit. If, however, anyone has any material desire to be fulfilled, he had better pray for it to the Supreme Lord, although that is not pure devotion, and he will thus achieve the desired result. There are two things here mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. First of all, our aim of life, especially when we get the human form of life, is to satisfy Krishna, Vishnu, Samsire Haritoshanam. Yeah, Ata Pumbir Dvija Srista, Varnasrama Vibhagasaha, Swanushtita Dharmasya Shamshirim Haritos. So Prabhupada did mention about Varnashram in his purport here. And the purpose of Varnashram is to satisfy Krishna. Therefore, the Varnashram system that we follow is called Daiva Varnashram. It's not materialistic Varnashram. Yeah, it is Daiva Varnashram. That means Varnashram performed in connection to Lord Krishna. Yeah, in fact, in the Vishnu Purana, Lord Krishna mentioned that Varnasrama Charavata Purushena Parakuman Vishnu Aradhyate Panta Na Anya Tatos Charana. Yeah, Na Anya Tatos Charana. There is no other way that can please me as much as those who are worshipping me through Varnashram system. By following the Varnashram system, Krishna will be pleased. Yeah. Na Anya Tatos Charana. There's no other thing can please me, Krishna says, can satisfy me, is by following the Varnashram system, engage in Krishna consciousness in that way. Because when we follow the Varnashram system, Varnashram means Vedic culture or Vedic lifestyle. When we worship Krishna according to the system that he created, because the Varnashram system is created by Krishna. Yeah, Chaturvarnamaya Krishna Guna Karma Vibhagasaha. Tasya Kartaram Mahatma. Krishna says that this system is created by me. So Krishna has created this Varnashram system for us to follow. Yeah. Otherwise, we may not be so ideal. so ideal in the front of, in the eyes of the society. Imagine that if we are claiming ourselves to be devotees and we don't really follow the rules and regulation, some injunction in the Vedas, then in the eyes of the societies, we are just hypocrite. We are claiming to be sadhu, but our behavior is not like sadhu. So varnashram is actually meant to regulate ourselves. Yeah, especially to segregate between men and women. This is like one of the biggest challenge nowadays in the Kali Yuga. And sometimes we see that even the devotees' life also, there are so much mixing nowadays between men and women, young boys and young girls, unmarried, going here and there together. There's no restriction. Yeah, and that's actually not so favorable for our devotional practice. Yeah. Pratikulyasya varjava. We should reject whatever unfavorable. Anukulyasya sankalpa, and accept what is favorable. And varnashram is so favorable for the development of our Krishna consciousness. It is a wrong conception if we say that, okay, now in Kali Yuga, we just need to chant Hare Krishna and go back home back to God. Well, if we are at the level of Haridas Thakur, we can say that. But Maya is so strong that even now, hardly we can finish our 16 rounds. We are struggling just to chant our 16 rounds. Therefore, Varnashram is needed. Varnashram is meant to bring us to the level of Sattva Gun. Yeah, Sattva Gun by simple living, high thinking, yeah, sattvic environment, yeah, traditional environment. That will help us to chant our 16 rounds easily. But if our life is full of passion, Rajogun, yeah, working so hard, just thinking about money, targeting this amount, that amount, then it's hard for us just even to chant 16 rounds. Therefore, Varnashram is very much needed. And that is part of Srila Prabhupada's mission in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada says that one of the objectives of our Krishna consciousness movement is to establish the system of Varnashram. And here, regarding the demigod worship, Prabhupada explained, better to worship Krishna even if we have material desires. Because the principle is that, as it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that akama sarva kamo moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham. Whether we have no material desire, we have a lot of material desire, or we desire for liberation, just worship Krishna. Tivrena bhakti means with the intense devotion. Yeah, intense devotion. Then Krishna will fulfill certainly our material desire, although it is not pure, as Srila Prabhupada mentioned. Although it is not pure, but that's still better than worshipping the demigods. Because by worshipping Krishna, although with some material motivation, still we get purification. Text number 5. This is the destination of demigod worship. Those who are worshipping the ancestor, worshipping the ghost, and worshipping Krishna. Those who worship, yeah, yanti deva brata devan pitrin yanti priti brata bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti majajino. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirit will take birth among such beings, and those who worship me will live in me. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada gave the example, just like we purchase ticket, plane ticket. If we purchase our ticket to America, certainly we'll go, our destination will be America. If we purchase to Australia, ticket to Australia, our destination will be Australia. So same thing, if we worship demigods, our destination will be demigods planet. If we worship Krishna, then we'll go to it. We'll go back to Krishna. See, it's clear. And text number 26, this is about pure devotion. Patram pushpam palam toyam yume bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktya uparitam astami prayatatmana. So bhakti mentioned twice here. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, flower, fruit, or water, I will accept. So Krishna is known as the Bhava Grahi Janardhan. Bhava Grahi Janardhan. He's Janardhan. Janardhan. He's residing in everything. Jana. Jana means person. Yeah, he knows person, and he wants only our bhava. Bhava means the essence of our heart. Yeah, bhava grahi janana. Prabhupada many times explained that Krishna doesn't really need our food. He's Atmarama. He is completely satisfied in himself. Yeah, he's complete. He's Purna. But when we offer something to Krishna, that's actually not for Krishna, but it comes back to us actually. That's for our own benefit. Yeah, Krishna just needs our love. For example, like a father, Prabhupada gives the example of a father also. Father gives money to his son. So when the son buys something, some candy or whatever, and and gives back to the father, so the father will be happily receiving this candy. Although the father doesn't really need this candy because he can buy as much as candy he wants. That money itself is actually from the father. But because the father is seeing the intention of the boy, the son, so he accepts that. So similarly, in our situation is also like that. Krishna accepts whatever we offer because we offer with love and devotion. That's it. Krishna is seeing our love. Krishna wants our love. Krishna doesn't need our food. Leaf, flowers, fruits, water. What he doesn't have, Krishna has everything. Krishna creates everything, all these elements. So Krishna is looking only our love. Yeah. Text number 27. So text 28 is about bhakti, and text 27 is about karma yoga. Yat kalasi adyasnasi adjuvosi tadasyat yatapasyashi kauntya tad purushva madapana. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So why it is karma yoga here? Because we are connecting our activities with Krishna. Yeah. Text number 26 is we are fulfilling what Krishna wants. But text number 27, we want something, but at the same time, we have the knowledge that everything should be connected to Krishna. Therefore, I should connect it first, and then I can enjoy later. But in the beginning itself, we have some desire to enjoy that particular thing. Yeah, we should be very clear here. Text 26, Krishna demands something and we do according to what he wants. In text 27, this verse, we want something and we connect it to Krishna just to purify ourselves. Yeah. Therefore, it is called karma yoga. Yat karosi, yat asnasi, whatever activities, perform it for Krishna. Text number 28. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious result. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. Okay, so bhakti will destroy both auspicious and inauspicious results. That means both papa and punya will be destroyed by bhakti. When we have nothing left, whether it is good or bad in the material world, then we can go back home, back to God. One who acts in Krishna consciousness under superior direction is called Yukta. The technical term is Yukta Vairagya. Yukta means actually being regulated. Yeah. Yukta. Real. One who has no interest but to dedicate his life to the service of the Lord is actually a sannyasi. Such a person always thinks of himself as an eternal servant, dependent on the supreme will of the Lord. Yeah. So we may situate it in any ashrams, but our mentality should be just like sannyasi. And what is the real meaning of renunciation, sannyasi here? When we connect everything to Krishna's service. Srila Prabhupada says, now here is a neutralization formula. Whatever we are doing, it has got some reaction. If we do pious act, there is good reaction. If we do impious action, there is a reaction also. So every action has got its reaction. That we can experience in this material world, that if we eat more, the reaction will be that for 2 days there will be indigestion. Similarly, this material world is so situated that every action has got its reaction. But Krishna says that if you act in Krishna consciousness for Krishna, then there will be no reaction. Therefore, there are 3 types of activities explained by Krishna. There's karma, vikarma, and akarma. Karma refers to the fruitive activities that give good result. Vikarma means sinful activities, not following scriptures, and that will give us papa, sins. And then akarma means devotional service, because devotional service, bhakti, will not create punya or what to speak of papa. So it's transcendental. All right. So we have covered the explanation of Lord Krishna to Arjuna about the worshipper and non-worshippers, and also about the demigod worship, demigod worshippers versus devotees. So we will continue on Thursday, I think.